Good day, goeiedag, fellow South Africans from a warmish Brisbane. We are getting towards the middle of summer like you guys are, so you know what I'm talking about. Now, the video that I'm attaching here is, it's quite frankly not good news, but you need to be aware of what's going on in Australia. There's talk of further reduction of the immigration numbers into Australia, because they're saying that the capitals are bulging at the system. You know, they can't cope with more people coming in. So I'll let you have a look at the video. I'm doing everything I can to find ways that you guys can actually get into Australia, because it is a wonderful country to look at a really good future. Okay, so here we go, and please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and have a great day. Bye for now.
As the Morrison government reviews immigration numbers, a new poll this morning shows both rich and poor Australians support cuts to numbers. The Centre for Independent Studies has found 46% of people in more affluent suburbs think our migration levels are too high, while the figure is 57% in poorer postcode areas. When asked if immigration should be cut or paused because of congestion in our cities, 65% of those from richer postcodes agreed. That increased to 77% for those from poorer suburbs.
Let's bring in Senators Pauline Hanson and Darren Hinch. Good morning to you both. Darren, quite a leading question. If the question had been, are you happy to go into economic recession while pausing immigration, people would have said no and be something completely different.
Yes, that's exactly true, Koshy. I think some of the arguments being put forward, like trying to move people to regional areas, is not a bad one. But I did see part of that poll said that actually the majority of people still wanted immigration to continue.
Yep.
All right, Pauline, it sounds like Scott Morrison will change our immigration policy in the next couple of weeks. Do you think that he should act quickly?
Yes, I do. Sam, I've been actually talking about this constantly for the last 2.5 years since I've been in Parliament. The people have now spoken up, the debate has happened on this, and the people in general are saying immigration levels are too high because the infrastructure, we can't keep up with the infrastructure. We haven't got the water, we haven't got the nursing homes, hospitals or schools for increasing population. Scott Morrison had the high numbers of immigration to prop up the budget, and that's why we have the high numbers. Now he's starting to realise that the people are fed up with it. Bringing in 190,000 a year, I still think that's too high. We should drop it between 70 to 100,000 a year into the country until we sort it out. So I'm pleased to see they're doing something about it, but it's not enough.
Now, the Morrison government is reported to be considering a radical plan to set up federal anti-terrorism courts to target would-be terrorists before they strike. Currently, police can only monitor the behaviour of would-be jihadists, and they're unable to act unless a terror plot is being planned. Pauline, look, this sounds a pretty good idea, I reckon. Are we doing enough to curb extremist behaviour and give our authorities the right amount of resources?
David, what upsets me is the fact that we are now looking at this of having terrorist courts that we needed in our country. That's the first thing that's upsetting me. Yes, I do believe we need judges in these courts to actually handle the situation. A lot of the judges wouldn't have a clue, they're not up to date with the legislation, and they wouldn't know how to handle it. I'm sorry, a lot of judges come straight from being solicitors onto the bench, and I'm not across their brief. I believe, yes, if we need the terrorist courts to deal with this terrorism, but let's go back to letting these people in the country in the first place. Don't give them citizenship after being here for a couple of years. If you're going to do that, make it 8 years. Then they've got to, don't get rid of their dual citizenship for another 10 years after that till they prove their character. If they're not, get rid of them, get them out of the country. We don't want them here.
Darren, I know after there's an attack, like there was in Melbourne the other day, there's a lot of focus on our terror watch list on terrorism in Australia. But is there enough work in this country, realistically, for these specific courts to be set up year-round?
Look, for a start, the case in Melbourne, the Burke Street murderer, he was on bail at the time. Now, the magistrate who let him out on bail again, now they were driving charges, I'll concede that, but he may have wanted to know that that man had had his passport cancelled, was on a terror watch list, and that may have influenced his decision on what to do. The police who were in court, they didn't know this either, so there has to be more communication between ASIO, the federal coppers, and the individual states. Whether there's enough... whether you could peel off part of one court and make it a terrorist court, I think that should be looked at. But the first thing to do is communicate between the various agencies so that magistrates and judges, and I agree with Pauline, and I've said this many times, and we've got the Victorian state election coming up, when Rob Hulls, the Attorney General, Labor Attorney General, when he retired, everybody raved about what a great man he was. And I went on air and said, in 10, 15 years' time, I was on radio, I said, you watch, all those people appointed by Rob Hulls from the Richmond Legal Service and the Fitzroy Legal Service, they'll be on the bench and we will rue the day.